Hello dear students, I am Prabhat Dubey from LPM Public School, Gola Bazar, and in our BST class today we will study about how India begins to re-industrialize. In the previous lecture we studied how India played a dominant role till 7th century. From 1st century to 7th century, India was ruling the international trade, but after 7th century there was disintegration in India's position and India's supremacy was challenged due to several factors. The important factors are foreign invaders and orthodox manufacturing practices, orthodox thinking of people, and use of prevalent techniques. India was not ready to modernize its manufacturing process, and Indian manufacturers neglected the new technology that was invented in European nations. These things made Indian supremacy go down, and after the demise of Bahadur Shah Zafar, Indian diaspora was dominated by Britishers. Britishers took control of India's administration, and directly or indirectly all the provinces of India were under British rule. And in 19th century the British exploitation was at its extreme peak. So we have witnessed that Indian cottage industries, Indian trade was entirely devastated by Britishers. Britishers were exploiting Indian markets, Indian natural resources, Indian farmers, and they were working only for the betterment of Britishers. They had nothing to do with Indian people. Okay, they were only like a tool in the hands of Britishers. Now we will study about how India emerged from this exploitatory procedures of Britishers. When India got independence in 1947, how things improved, what were the major changes that were brought in, and how India cope up with the global pressure. We will study all these things as it is mentioned in the first point. After independence, the devastated Indian economy came on the verge of revival. Revival means if anything that has lost strength comes on the proper track again. This is called revival. So Indian industries, Indian manufacturing, all these things were on the stage of revival because the administration of India was under control of Indians. Prime Minister Dr. Jawaharlal Nehru and our first President Dr. Rajendra Prasad made sincere efforts to revive Indian industries, Indian agriculture, and Indian manufacturing as well. Because our whole structure of trade was entirely damaged. Our connection with different nations were loosened. Now people were looking India as a devastated market. India was now not considered as golden sparrow. That was the case till 7th century. Now India was called as a nation of snake charmers. India को सपेरों का देश. Britishers manipulated our history. है ना, इंडिया जो सबसे पहले civilized country थी, that was in the knowledge center. Britishers ने हमारी history को manipulate कर दिया, है ना. They wanted us to think that we are not competitive enough. है ना. They wanted to ruin our self confidence because Britishers took every chance to lower our confidence level. If you want to slave anybody, first, this is the common practice, first devastate their self confidence. अगर आपके तो self confidence नहीं है, then you will come under direct control with any foreign power. Okay, but Indian scholars, Indian leaders, Indian revolutionary thinkers tried to rejuvenate Indian people. Huh? They ignited the spirit of nationalism, self-belief, and in this way the revival of Indian people started. But the pace that was required was not matched. The European nations and Western nations were developing with faster rate and India was lagging behind. Several factors are responsible for that. Government was making sincere effort, but that efforts were not sufficient enough to provide India the needed pace. In 1952, introduction of the first 5-year plan was one of the major steps. Prime Minister Dr. Jawaharlal Nehru felt the need to provide the needed impetus to agriculture, arrangement of proper credit, providing secure atmosphere to the small industrial unit holders. All these steps were brought in. But India was not ready to face the global competition. That's why Indian economy was closed type. We were not allowing the foreign companies to enter into Indian market and start business, because there was a fear that the international company will take over the entire market, because our companies were not competitive enough to fight against the foreign companies. The product that were offered by the foreign companies were very superior, and Indian products were of lower inferior quality. That's why it was the need of the time to keep Indian market in conservative mode. But despite several efforts, you cannot stop globalization if you want to compete in the global market. You have to allow your companies as well to go to the nations abroad, and also allow the foreign companies to enter into Indian market. This is the need of the time. You cannot stop globalization for too long. When you are stopping the foreign companies to enter your market, you will be neglected from the international trade. Your opportunities will go down. The development of your people, development of your market, the consumer will suffer a lot, because globalization provides huge benefit to the customers. For a single specific need, different types of products are available nowadays, which is due to the globalization. Okay, so we will study all these things. India made sincere efforts till 1991, but the efforts were not giving us proper results, because till then Indian market was closed. So in 1991, PV Narasimha Rao decided to open Indian markets, to liberalize Indian market, to allow the foreign players to come to India and start business that will generate employment, that will provide investment to Indian companies. Okay, this brought positive results as well, but at that time several political parties were in opposition. They were not allowing, they were boycotting government policies at that time. But Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was the finance minister, was very efficient person. He understood that we have to open Indian economy if we want to grow, if we want to develop, if we want our economy to do well in the global platform. We have to open our market. So the concept of privatization, globalization and liberalization, these three concepts were adopted in 1991. Globalization means entire world is a single market. There is no restriction on any trade. Earlier what happened, government used to impose huge amount of taxes, duties, anti-dumping duties, just to stop foreign companies to enter into the market. If you are imposing huge taxation on foreign companies, the companies will not come to your market, because every company that is coming to any other nation, the sole objective is to develop a profitable market, develop a sound manufacturing unit. And if there is no profitability, why should any company invest huge capital? If any company is investing capital in any foreign nation, the sole objective is to earn profit and to develop its brand. Okay, so we will study about different measures that were taken by the government since 1991. So if this question is asked, who is father of liberalization in India, answer will be PV Narasimha Rao. Okay, he was the father of liberalization. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh both are called father of liberalization in India. Privatization is you are giving the ownership of government owned companies to private institutions. Okay, if there is at least 51% stake in the hands of government, then that company is called government unit, like PSU. But if the ownership is diluted, if 50% or more than goes in the hand of private sector, then that company is declared private. Okay, so we understood liberalization, privatization and globalization. And now the sincere efforts that were made by Narendra Modi government to make India stand in the global platform, that was Make in India, that was launched in 2014. A mechanical lion is the symbol of this Make in India. Make in India suggests that we have to manufacture each and every goods and provide each and every service to Indian market to make India self-dependent, self-reliant on its basic needs and other demands as well. As we witnessed that India that was dependent on other nations for its defense requirements, like India were in trade agreement with Russia, United Kingdom, USA, France for its defense requirements. As we know that defense equipment require latest technology, huge capital investment, and India was lacking in both technology and capital. That's why government is making sincere efforts. Government is providing MSMEs as well proper opportunity to take part in the defense sector. Earlier, the big players were involved only in the defense manufacturing. As we witnessed in Kanpur, there are several defense production units. Some are government, some are private. Ordnance factory boards are there. Bullets, jackets, helmets of the soldiers are manufactured in Kanpur. But now government has declared two centers of defense corridor. One is Chennai and other one is this belt of Bundelkhand, Kanpur, Lucknow, Aligarh. These three units are connected and there is proper infrastructure development to provide proper supply chain for supply of defense goods. Okay, so this defense corridor will work for making India self-reliant in its defense requirements, and after that India is aiming to export the defense good to other countries. So the country who is dependent on other nations for its defense requirement is aiming to provide defense goods to other nations. This is called Make in India. Okay, first produce as much goods that are needed in your own country, and after that if there is sufficient goods available to your own citizens, then try to export that. For that you need skilled workforce. If your people are not skilled enough to manufacture the desired items, then how can you make India self-reliant? That's why several skill training programs were organized by government. You can witness that in every district there are several centers of government of India who are imparting skilled courses. Training programs are there for youth to make them skilled enough to involved in the manufacturing process. 6 month, 3 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year diploma courses of technology and manufacturing processes are provided to the Indian youth who are unemployed. In this way, we will generating employment opportunities for our youth, and we are also supporting government for all of its policies and initiatives, the campaigns that are made to make India self-reliant. Digital India, as we know that this era is of technology and digital field. If you are not able to compete on this current scenario that is inspired by technology and data, so IT revolution is there. India was lagging behind, but government is making sincere effort to connect each and every citizen of India with digital format. Now the subsidy of government, pensions, all the government ads are provided to you in your account. Earlier it was through different mediums. That's why there were several cases of corruption. But now Government India is working to make the people digitally literate. Okay, so all these efforts are providing India good opportunity to compete on global market. This is making India self-reliant, and the confidence level of our citizens are also increasing day by day. Okay, so all these things are making providing us sound results. Now we will keep discussing this in our next lecture. Okay, thanks for now.